she kisses him, he remembers. It's as if his past lives come flooding back to him, much like when we remember who we are by knowing all is love. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of TrueLove Talks for Vlogmas. Today I want to talk about how there seems to be a perfect storm brewing in which all these various truth events are moving towards potentially culminating in something. The other day we were talking about synchronicities and multi-tiered synchronicities. One of you left a comment about how you were talking to someone in a diner because she was wearing a Eye of Horus shirt or something, and you mentioned Katy Perry's Dark Horse. And then yesterday I was on my way home, and in the car I was having trouble finding a song on the radio. I just kept changing the stations for probably a good 3 minutes, and finally I just gave up and left it on the station that it was on. And the song was playing. I didn't really recognize it, so I turned it up a little bit. It was Katy Perry's Dark Horse. Oh, and then the line in the song that I heard was, "Are you ready for a perfect storm?" Well, a perfect storm is when a variety of concurrent events or seemingly disconnected events come together perfectly in either a good or bad outcome. I'm wondering if this is somewhat prophetic. Yesterday, I did that video about Twitch. And I do think that it's a little bit strange the amount of attention they're giving this guy, considering he was a DJ for Ellen. He wasn't like a massive celebrity or anything, but he's getting a lot of attention. It's everywhere. The reason why he's getting a lot of attention is they want people to realize that there's something off about it. And I'm noticing that a lot more people are seeing that there's something weird about these events. They don't quite know what it is. Some people are saying that it was a sacrifice. Some people saying it was Illuminati. Some people saying he was killed because he knew too much or said too much. I mean, no, none of that's true. But at least people are thinking and they're recognizing that something is off. So we're headed in the right direction. And it's mainstreamers that are recognizing that something is off. With the perfect storm and the weirdness of this place, I'm noticing lately there's a lot of these types of events. And I've noticed that the message has started to change a little bit. They used to be very similar messages when I did decodes, but the Twitch message was very different. And same with the Queen and, the decodes I did that were on the 8th of the month. That was different. So they moved away from these generic kind of Christ consciousness decodes into more specific messages and tying into each other a little bit more directly. Because they're coming almost every day now, I'm surprised that people aren't noticing a little bit more. Well, maybe they are. I kind of keep an eye on what mainstreamers are talking about through Twitter, but Twitter's such a cesspool. I can't really gauge if mainstreamers are getting it or not. Anyhow, there does seem to be an increase in frequency of events, a change in the message in the events, and the biggest thing that I've noticed is there's a revealing of the fakery by mainstreamers. There's mainstream celebrities that are starting to tell the truth. They're starting to talk about things that they're not supposed to talk about. They're also talking about how weird it is that there's so many homeless people. They're pointing out some of the conspiracies being true. The Twitch event, people are pointing out it has some weird elements that point to it either not being what they tell us it is. And I don't know if you've been aware of somebody called the Liver King was exposed recently for being a liar, of pushing supplements and saying he doesn't use testosterone or hormones, and it came out that he does, and he's admitted it, and he's all over the place being exposed. And there's another sports YouTuber who does online workouts who was exposed as an actor for stealing another man's work. Meghan Markle's being exposed. Amber Heard, Love is Blind, is being exposed as being staged, and one of the people on there, he's had a charge put against him that was subsequently dropped for DV. Another one was exposed for having potentially narcissistic personality disorder. Then it started to come out that it was staged to some extent because one of the contestants, or a pair of them, had arranged that they were going to continue for the show so they could get some fame out of it. They were faking their relationship. And another one revealed that he was approached on Instagram by casting directors to apply for the show, which is what they do for these shows like The Bachelor, so they can cast who they want in the show. So a lot of these shows that are so-called reality shows or so-called documentary types, like Meghan Markle's documentary, is being exposed for being a fraud. She's claiming all sorts of ridiculous things, and mainstreamers are pointing out that the footage is taken from other events, not even applied to her, that she's faking things and lying about it. So when the mainstream is pointing out all of these inconsistencies and outright frauds and fakers and liars, and all of them are being exposed at the same time, it's got to be moving towards something. Oh, and then there's the SBF thing. I mean, the FTX SBF thing is pretty massive. Should have brought down the financial system, but it didn't. And it should point out the corruption in the government, the corruption in the financial system, the corruption in mainstream media, and the corruption in law. FTX single-handedly should take down half of corporate America's structure, just in the absurdities alone. So yeah, there's just like a whole host of things that are coming to the light. And I had an event some time ago, I think it was the mall brawl event, and the major message in that was what happens in the dark will come to the light. So all of these things started to be exposed after that, more so than they were before. Okay, so there's all of that. There's all these weird events that are happening, and all the fakery and everything, and then everything coming to the light, things being exposed. And it kind of gives me an icky feeling because I don't really like the idea of exposing all of these people, even though they are lying and they are, corrupted. And it just, this idea of exposing everything to me is just like, ugh, it's just gross. But the fraud, the fakery has to be exposed, so it's gotta happen. Even with all these strange events going on, it's easy to excuse it as deliberate, that people are doing this on purpose. What I mean by that is like staged, that the elites are aware of what's going on and they are deliberately exposing these people as frauds because they also know that all of this is just a grand performance, which seems really weird to me that, this would be done on purpose. But a lot of it does seem like it's done on purpose, but a lot of it seems beyond manufactured. Going through the Twitch event, I really got a sense for how the subtleties and the details in his whole life was built around his archetype, and how details like words that he would say or just things that come up in conversation, dance poses, aspects of his life, the people he hung out with, there's just so many things, so many nuances to it that is beyond manufactured. It was really quite beautiful to go through that and to discover all of these little details. And it just kept going and going and going. It was very similar to some of the discoveries I made with Johnny Depp. So yeah, a lot of weird things happening right now. Not to mention all the deaths, like celebrity deaths and the died suddenly deaths. I don't understand how people can still not see it, Like my parents are kind of a part way there, like the window's open, but they're not sticking their heads out. And my sister, she's a lost cause. She's never going to see it, I don't think, unless it gets like bashed over her head or something. But my parents see certain things. They see the trans thing. They're starting to see that reality shows are staged. They're starting to see documentaries are staged and faked. My mom, I sent her the document produced by Pfizer with all the adverse, and my mom was looking at it and she said she doesn't understand. I said, what's not to understand? And she says, well, I understand what I'm reading, I just don't understand why all of this is happening. And she wanted to talk about it, but we haven't had a chance to talk about it. I think she's having a hard time putting the pieces together because the biggest hurdle for people is realizing that all of this is staged and orchestrated and that everybody's in on it, so to speak. That's something that's really hard to overcome. So people will just continue to make excuses and make excuses so they don't have to look at it that way. But yeah, like there's so many things that are coming out, but they're still kind of mundane. But to me, they're not mundane because I see the codes and I see beyond the obvious, as I'm sure most of you do. And so in terms of what the mainstreamers see mundane stuff. They see manufactured things. And I'm just waiting to get to the stage where they see the supernatural. Like they see the metaphysical and that there's something else going on here. I want things to get really weird. I mean, the synchronicities and everything, and my parents even see the TV talking to us. Like they see that, but they don't think much beyond it, like beyond coincidental, but they do see it. And so it's just a matter of time for something really weird to happen. Like, I'm waiting for something just so out to lunch, so bizarre, so, like dragons flying in from the sky, or swarms of butterflies turning different colors, or, like, I want to see something really magical. I want to see something really bizarre, something out of the ordinary that is totally, undeniably weird, that everybody sees. I would settle for something really weird that only I see, or the people who are awake see. The more time I spend thinking of what the world should be like or used to be like, the more I think it used to be more like a fantasy or a fairy tale, and these mythical characters were probably real, and somehow we managed to turn it into this mundane blah. So one day it will return to this magical, mystical world where we can do pretty much anything, and fairy tales are real. I mean, fairy tales are real, we just don't see them right now. I want to see them. I think that would be fun. Okay, so that's it for today. Hope you're having a nice day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.